Okay, everyone. So before we get into the new mentor text, the mini lesson modeling, any of that, you're probably asking yourself, well, what should I focus on through the first 20 or so pages of my new LDG book? And then what should I write about at the end? Well, thematic ideas is the perfect entrance to a brand new book. Why? Because immediately you're starting to understand what is essential and important to not just your main character, but the other people in that main character's life that drive the plot of your story. Thematic ideas are a single central idea behind human experience and life. I have talked about thematic ideas going back to September. And as you know from some of those lessons, these thematic ideas can be as short as one word or a short phrase, and they eventually blossom into larger, more complex themes as the book continues and you understand more about what's going on to your characters and other elements of the text. But this just one single thematic idea is a great way to get into a new book and figure out what are some priorities for my character? What do they care about? What is going on in their world? You can see a bullet point list down in the bottom left of all kinds of really common thematic ideas. You're not limited to those, but if you quickly scan through that list, you'll see a lot of those are not just uh, ideas that come up in so many books and movies and plays that we love, but also come up in our world so frequently and drive our emotions and drive what we prioritize. And so we're going to find out through the first 20 or so pages of our coming of age LDG text that we're beginning today. What are some of those thematic ideas that pop up for our main characters? On the bottom right, the reason why this is kind of a appropriate lesson right now is because if we were back at school, we'd be getting into Romeo and Juliet, which I'm sorry to say we're not going to be able to do. It's one of my favorite things to teach, but that's a story for another day. But one of the things that we notice in Romeo and Juliet from the first, Act One, Scene One on, is that all of these different thematic ideas in those bubbles are popping up among the characters in that play. That's a play that's written in the 1590s, and these same similar common thematic ideas 400 plus years later are still driving some of the best books that we read, some of the best movies that we see, some of the best plays that we see performed. And so these ideas are timeless. They are essential to what makes us human. And so, what better way to kick off a coming of age, realistic fiction story, which you all are reading right now and will begin reading today, than looking for a thematic idea that drives the essence of who your character is? And so let's begin by looking at some possible thematic ideas in our new mentor text called The House on Mango Street.